Brother Oleksandr Usyk just responded, and the way he did it is not what anybody expected. Because while the entire boxing world is calling his last fight rigged, while former opponents are publicly siding against him, while Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou and Dylan Dennis are all saying Rico got robbed, Usyk opens his mouth, and what comes out of it is going to genuinely surprise you. Stay with me, because by the time we get to what Rico himself said after the fight, and what Francis Ngannou posted that has the whole internet talking, this story is going to hit completely different. Here's where it gets crazy. Alright bro, let's build this properly, because there are multiple storylines colliding right now, and you need the full picture to understand why Usyk firing back is such a big deal. So here is the setup. Saturday night, Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. Oleksandr Usyk, undefeated, 25 wins, beat Anthony Joshua twice, beat Tyson Fury twice, WBC heavyweight champion, defends his title against Rico Verhoeven, a kickboxer. A man with one professional boxing match on his record before this night, 12 years as undisputed glory heavyweight kickboxing champion, 66 wins in that sport, but a boxing novice by every measure. The whole world expected Usyk to handle this comfortably. Most analysts gave Rico zero chance. This was supposed to be a stay-busy fight for the champion before a bigger matchup, a spectacle, a payday at a historic venue. No cap, nobody predicted what actually happened. Rico came in with a game plan built by trainer Peter Fury, Tyson's uncle, and he executed it round after round. High guard, constant pressure, double jab, walking Usyk down using every pound of that 25-pound weight advantage, bullying the champion into the corners. And Usyk, the most technically gifted heavyweight of his generation, looked flat, looked slow, looked like a man who did not take his opponent seriously until it was almost too late. Going into round 11, multiple observers had it 7-3 for Rico. The open scoring in the venue had the fight dead even after 8 rounds. Think about that. The official in-venue scoring had the best heavyweight boxer alive level with a man in his second professional boxing match. And then round 11 changes everything. Wait for it, because this is the sequence that broke boxing Twitter in half. Usyk finds his right uppercut late in the round. He has been looking for it all night, and it finally lands clean. Rico goes down for the first time in the fight. The crowd erupts. Usyk smells blood. Rico beats the count. He is up. His legs are unsteady. He is hurt, but he is up. Usyk charges in with a flurry. Some land, some do not. Rico's hands are up. He is covering. He is still defending himself. And with 1 second remaining on the clock, 1 literal second, referee Mark Lyson steps in and waves it off. 1 second, bro. The bell was literally about to ring. Rico was about to get 60 full seconds in his corner to recover and come out for round 12. Instead, the fight is over. Usyk retains, 25-0. And every single person watching loses their mind simultaneously. The official DAZN commentator, the man being paid to call the fight, screams live on air, "What are you doing, referee? What are you doing? Are you kidding me? This is for the heavyweight championship of the world." That is not a fan in the stands. That is the broadcast, destroying the stoppage in real time. Then the scorecards drop. 2 judges had the fight dead even after 10 rounds. 1 had Rico ahead, which means even without the stoppage, the cards were being set up to hand Usyk the win regardless. Rico was getting robbed either way. The stoppage just made it cleaner. And Rico himself? Class act. He goes to the media and says it plainly. "I thought it was an early stoppage, but in the end, it's not up to me. I wanted the referee to let me go out on my shield or let me go in the 12th. I felt we were pretty even on the scorecards." Even on the scorecards, when everyone watching had him winning by miles. No cap, that quote is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Here is where the pylon starts, and bro, the names on this list are not small. Francis Ngannou goes first, and this one hits different because Ngannou knows exactly what this feels like. He had his own controversial loss to Tyson Fury in 2023, a fight most people thought he won, so when he speaks on robbery in boxing, he is speaking from experience. He posts a photo of himself sparring with Rico and writes, "Outsiders will never win. Trust me, I know. But Rico was the winner tonight, period. Outsiders will never win." That is a massive claim. That is not just calling the stoppage bad. That is calling the entire sport structurally corrupt. That is saying boxing will never allow someone from outside the system to take the belt home. No cap, that one tweet reframed the entire conversation. Then Anthony Joshua speaks. And this one is interesting because AJ has his own complicated history with Usyk. Usyk beat him twice. But he comes out and says Rico should definitely have been given a chance to continue. Definitely. No hesitation. Then Dylan Dennis. Now look, Dylan Dennis says a lot of things, but even accounting for that, that was the most rigged thing I have ever seen. Never watching boxing again. Rico Verhoeven just schooled one of the best boxers in the world and still got robbed. When even the trolls are unified on something, that tells you the temperature of the room. And Tony Bellew, who fought Usyk himself for the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship back in 2018, who knows this man's capabilities better than almost anyone, says Rico came out of this a winner regardless of the result. His hand might not have been raised, but given what we expected, he just nearly sprung the biggest surprise boxing has ever seen. We will never know whether Verhoeven would have made it out for round 12, so we should probably do it again. It is the least that boy deserves after the performance he just put in. The least that boy deserves. From a man who lost to Usyk. That is the level of consensus we are dealing with here.
I don't care what anybody says. Boxing is rigged. I'm not surprised Rico wants to put an appeal in for that awful stoppage last night. I'm sorry, but I think Usyk is one of the best fighters to ever grace this earth. But last night, we can all agree, he was down and out and he was going to lose. But that last minute stoppage, come on, man. We all seen it. And apparently, if it was going to a decision, Rico would have won. And this is why I say boxing's rigged. You know, imagine Rico winning and beating the heavyweight world champion. The boxing world wouldn't allow it. And at the end of the day, boxing isn't a sport, it's a business. And you've got to keep the views up, otherwise you don't get paid. I don't know, there's just something fishy going on, man. But I think this is 100% correct. And I'd be doing the same if that happened to me. Rico should have won.
Okay, bro, here is where it escalates. And this is the part that changes the whole story. Because while everyone is screaming robbery and rigged and corrupt, Rico Verhoeven does something nobody expected. Instead of pouring fuel on the fire, instead of going on Instagram and calling boxing corrupt, or demanding justice or amplifying the chaos, he posts the scorecards. Just the scorecards. And writes, "Leave emotions out of it. Read the cards. 1 second left heading into the 12th and final round. Onwards and upwards. Respect to Usyk. It was an honor to share the ring with you. Let's run it back." Let that sink in for a second. The man who got robbed is telling his own fans to calm down and look at the facts. He is not calling it fixed. He is not calling it corrupt. He is just pointing at the scorecards, 2 judges even, one with him ahead, and letting the numbers speak for themselves. That is a different kind of confidence. That is a man who knows exactly what happened and does not need to shout about it. And now here is where Usyk fires back. Because in the middle of all of this, Ngannou calling outsiders never win, Joshua saying Rico should have continued, the scorecards going viral, the internet burning down, Usyk responds. And rather than addressing the rigged claims directly, rather than defending the stoppage or attacking the critics, Usyk accepts the call-out for the rematch on the night and reportedly nods toward Ajit Kabayel as his next mandatory opponent, essentially trying to sidestep the rematch conversation entirely and move on. Bro. The champion who just survived the biggest near upset of his career is trying to move on to someone else, instead of running it back immediately with the man who arguably beat him for 10 rounds. No cap, that reaction tells you more about what happened in Egypt than any scorecard. Turki Al-Sheikh, the Saudi promoter bankrolling this whole operation, is not letting it go that easily though. He stepped into the ring on the night itself and demanded a rematch in Holland. The man writing the checks publicly sided with the guy who lost, in front of everyone. That is the loudest possible signal. Alright bro, here is where I land, and I want you to actually fight me in the comments on this one. Usyk firing back at the rigged claims by essentially ignoring them and moving on is the most revealing response he could have given. Because a man who genuinely felt he won that fight cleanly does not try to book his next opponent within 48 hours of a controversy this size. You address it, you defend the stoppage, you say the referee made the right call, and here is why. Instead, next fight, move on, let's go. Rico, on the other hand, quietly posts the scorecards, says leave emotions out of it, asks for the rematch through the official channels, does not call anyone corrupt, does not burn the sport down, just points at the evidence and lets it sit there. And here is my actual take. Rico Verhoeven is now in the most dangerous position a fighter can be in going into a rematch. He showed Usyk everything. The high guard, the pressure, the jab, the right hand, the body work. Usyk has now seen all of it on film. He knows what is coming. And a fully prepared, fully motivated Usyk, who actually respects his opponent from round one, is a completely different animal to the flat, slow, underestimating version that showed up in Egypt. Ngannou said outsiders never win. And the uncomfortable truth is that the rematch might be boxing's chance to prove him right. Not through corruption this time, but through preparation. Usyk studies film better than almost anyone in the sport. Rico gave him 11 rounds of footage to work with. The scorecard said Rico won the first fight, but I genuinely think Usyk wins the rematch. And I think the boxing establishment knows that too, which is exactly why they are in no rush to make it. Drop your rematch prediction in the comments, and tell me, after everything we just covered, do you think Usyk actually earned that win? Or did Egypt give him one he did not deserve?